I'm not gonna change. I might try a few different things, but yeah, no, I'm not going to.
This is Live at the Hall from the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. This week, Michael McCall talks with singer-songwriter Sam Williams.
I think that Mama's drinking again. There's a sparkle in her eye, and how I love to see her laughing. Oh, do I? God knows I've prayed for that smile. She got a suite at the new hotel downtown. That ain't something she does. And tried to call me out of the blue and act like that was someone she was. But you can't fool your own blood. You can't lie to a lie. Go ahead and flame the fire and burn down everything you love. You can steal from a thief. I'll act like I believe, but you can't fool your own blood. I know roads that I don't walk down. I don't walk down, not no more. They take me places I don't wanna go. Don't wanna go again, but now and then I take a wrong turn, and then the lost highway claims me its own. Oh, I got a voice in my head, it tells me it's fine, no matter what I've done. I got a broken compass in my pocket, it's telling me where it is I come from. But you can't fool your own blood. You can't lie to a lie. Go ahead and flame the fire and burn down everything you love. You can steal from a thief. I'll act like I believe, but you can't fool your own blood. You can't fool your own blood. No, no, you can't fool. No, you can't fool. You can't fool your own blood.
Sam Williams, welcome to the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum.
Thank you, Michael.
So, we just heard you sing, and one of the aspects of your song is you're not afraid to go into some depth and some dark places, and really kind of tackle big questions about life. Where did that kind of songwriting come to you?
I don't think that it's something that I necessarily directly learned. I didn't really grow up writing songs a lot. As I've said before, I kind of tried to shy away from the musical side of my family and the legacy, but I started taking it more seriously probably in 2016, 2017. And I had written some poems, and I always did things like that, and started to take it more seriously. And it just came more natural to me to tackle like whatever was on my chest at the time, instead of, you know, starting to write and thinking what will be popular, like what do people want to hear from me, and how do I create my own lane of, you know, writing and sound. It just was a much more natural process to just like write what was on my heart, and helped me, and then, you know, in the long run helped me like to create my sound and like what I wanted to say as well.
So you started as a songwriter more than a singer or a performer, or was that?
I always sang. I always sang as a little kid. Like, me and my sister would sing Britney Spears and all the pop music, and, you know, listening to the radio. And I did like some talent shows here and there, but I kind of shied away from it. But like, everybody knew that I was a singer. My dad always said I was a singer. Yeah,
that's good. So, you know, and starting to write songs, you know, often people start with sort of lighter material, you know, when they want to create something catchy and get a, you know, think about a crowd going.
Yeah.
It's kind of lighthearted. That's not what you seem to have started out with, is that?
No. I'm proud of myself when I like write something that's not extremely serious and kind of lighthearted and catchy, because I'm like, like I can't do this.
Yeah.
But, you know, I kind of never fail to like attach, you know, an element of seriousness to it. Yeah.
Right. And it's, you know, it's funny to say, because I think most songwriters, you know, like I said, the lighter parts are easy. It's the darker parts or the deeper parts that can be hard for somebody to reach into. So,
Yeah.
You know, You Can't Fool Your Own Blood is obviously a very, you know, a song that deals with serious issues. Where did that song come for you?
I was writing with Mary Gauthier, a really renowned Americana artist and writer, and we just click really well. We have 2 songs on my album together, and I was thinking about like internal struggles and also like internal family struggles, dynamics. And when I was writing that day, I thought of like this interview that I'd seen recently, and I don't remember who it was, but this guy being interviewed said one of the most salient points of his childhood he remembered was his dad catching him in a big lie for the first time. And his dad being, you know, really serious, and him not thinking it was a big deal, and saying, you know, you don't want to be a good liar. That's not a path you want to go down. And I was thinking about that during the write that day, and the thought of like blood and DNA and lineage came to me. So the first verse is more about like lying to ones you love and like the damage and effects of that and like what it teaches. And then the second verse more explores lying to yourself, and, you know, what can happen from that, whether it's, you know, something you know you don't need to do, or, you know, something like chasing a dream, like something you know that you're like called to do, and keeping yourself from doing that. And, you know, it's really important to, you know, be true to yourself. And I really love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how the first verse you're talking to somebody else, and the second verse you're talking to yourself. You know, so it's sort of the same thing. That lying is wrong, whether it's even if it's just internal.
Right.
You know. So, I love the line about broken compass. Do you remember where that came from?
I got a broken compass in my pocket. I think I was just trying to be visual, and like when you're trying to find yourself, and like what direction you're heading in, and you really don't know. I just thought that like was a good way to visualize that. Yeah.
Right. You know, the Rolled Alone song also, again, you know, dealing with some big issues, you know. So again, talk about where that came from.
The World Alone I wrote about 2 years ago with one of my favorite writers to write with named Ben Roberts of Carolina Story. And it's about wanting to fulfill dreams with someone, like things that you planned on doing with them. And what it was about for me was wanting to show the world, to someone that I loved. And it was always a record that I really felt attached to, and I felt like it was part of the foundation of the sound I was making for my record. And when my sister passed away last year in 2020, I was in the process right when it happened of getting singles ready to put out, and it ruined everything. And I kind of found a new meaning for that song, even though I'd written it a year before her accident. I felt my sister Katie every time I listened to it, and I had to find some solace in that. Songs are living and breathing organisms, and they can change what the meaning is, and how people interpret it. And I kind of had to change the meaning of that to, I'm always going to regret that through, my musical endeavors and whatever, going on, vacations and trips with my sister Katie and her kids and mine. And I had to find solace in that she can see the world. And it's me that, is going to have to travel everywhere and, see things, but that, that she'll be with me from above, and that she can see it.
Yeah. First, I'm sorry you had to go through that, and as your family's had to deal with that.
Thank you.
Does it change the way you feel when you sing it? Does it change the way you perform it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Mary Gaucher. You've written Lori McKenna, Mary Gaucher, Jim Lauderdale. Again, songwriters who aren't afraid to go to a very deep and significant place with their songs. But also, not writers who usually write with people who are starting out. So what connected you with those? Say Lori first.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be unfair to say that my last name can't get me in a writing room. And I think that it can out of sheer interest, but Lori was the first of those three that I ever wrote with, and I was always a huge Lori McKenna fan. I love her album, The Bird and the Rifle, and when I first started playing shows, I would sing The Bird and the Rifle and one other song from that record in my set. And I just looked up to her a lot because she's a writer that's able to write very serious stuff and also be able to write, a hit that transcends and people connect to. And I'm envious of that as a writer. But yeah, I've written some of my best songs with Lori and Mary Gaucher.
Right. And how did you meet Mary? Did you say?
I'd met her just the first time we wrote together, and we just hit it off. She just has a big personality, and she's cool and different. And sometimes writing with guys, it's like too much testosterone in the room, and like people are thinking about cuts and splits and other artists and stuff like that, and you just have to have the right connection with somebody to write something meaningful that that you're proud of. And I don't know, I do well with her. I think that we have similar backgrounds in a way. Yeah.
And you I think when you write with somebody, there has to be that sort of some place where you get simpatico. So while your name may get you into a room, once you're there, you've got to show what you have.
Yeah, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really good at like being the tag on a write that's kind of just there and waits to see what comes out of it. I like to really be connected to the song. And if there's lines I don't like that I didn't put in, it will really irk me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the things, and I think this runs through your family, is each of the performers have their own completely distinct style. They don't really sound like the other members of the family.
Right.
Was that something you were aware of as you started writing and started performing? Is it?
I mean, like, I think that awareness comes and goes. Like, in my day-to-day life, like, I don't really think about, like, the legacy and comparison as much. But then there's certain times that it becomes evident, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be put up against, the standard for my whole career. And, that's unfair in a way, but that's just how it is.
Right.
And all I can really do is be me. And that's just what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's obviously you've created a very distinctive style of your own. So
Thank you.
I helped curate a exhibit we had here called Family Tradition, Williams Family Legacy. And you mentioned legacy. What do you see as your family's legacy?
Oh, that's like a really, that's a tough question. I see it as a blessing to, millions. And for me, it's a blessing and a curse because, trauma and tragedy is, passed down genetically. I mean, there's there's research of like scans of people's brains and stuff that like stuff they didn't even experience that, is with them that's been like passed down. So, it can be difficult for me to try to live up to that. And that's why I don't really. Like I want to make my dad proud and make my grandparents proud that, I didn't meet, and make my sister proud. But I don't really try to live up to the legacy in that sense. Kind of just the same way that, my dad, he was pushed into the spotlight.
Right.
He didn't have a choice.
Right.
And he, recorded covers and recorded his daddy's songs for so long, and then was like, I'm gonna do my own thing. Yeah. I don't even know what that is yet, but I'm going to. Yeah. And, we all know about all of that. And by doing that, he went on to, really change the genre of country music and leave an imprint that would influence every artist in Nashville from that point on. So that's a lot to live up to too. But that's just what I think sometimes is like, to just do your own thing and spend time finding your own thing and make mistakes and just to not imitate.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's and one of the things I think the great example of what he did was go your own way. Find your own voice, find your own style. Mm-hmm. Don't look above. Don't feel like you have to continue something.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And you seem to be doing that.
Like I think in his career, like his Mountain Fall was in 1975, and around like the New South record for him, I think of Feeling Better, the song Feeling Better specifically. It's a new sound. It was a brand new sound. Nobody was doing that. And that was just him. I don't know how my dad writes songs. We don't do that, together. We don't really talk about that either. But I know that was just him sitting at his cabin, and he probably wrote that song in 20 minutes, And it's just him truly being himself, and look where that got him,
So, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's the example. Yeah. So, yep. I think the other thing about some of this is that people may think oh, he's got a record deal. That must come from, his name or from his, his father called somebody. That's not the way it happened. Talk about how you ended up with Universal.
Well, I thought that I was going to be first of all, it didn't happen like that at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. I've never had a string pulled really by my dad, even really to get out of a ticket, but or go to jail for that matter.
Yeah.
But I thought that I was going to be an independent artist, and my team, my manager, just thought that was like the best route for me, because there wasn't really a path to follow. Like, okay, we can't follow Chris Jansen, and we can't follow Luke Combs, like from music to style and image. So honestly, just a few months ago, I have had my album wrapped up for a little while, and we just shot the album cover in March, and we're getting ready to keep moving forward regardless if a big label came along or not. And Cindy Mabe at Universal just had seen me before, and always been interested and intrigued, and she saw my performance on Colbert, and I think that was I'm sure they're like, how did this kid get on there? He's he doesn't have any backing. But it just happened, and they just really believe in me, and I think that they're interested in where is country music going to be in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, because it will change and it won't always be the same, and we can see that. So I'm really, really excited to see what we're going to do, and it feels really good to be validated and have backing, and yeah, feels good.
Yeah, I mean, record companies obviously get thousands and thousands of people pitching stuff to them, and it's, I think, rare for them to step out and say, go for something that hadn't even been pitched to them, but to see it and say, hey, there's something I really want to get behind. Yeah. So what did it feel like when you first got a call from them and they started talking about it?
I'm still kind of a little confused by it, to be honest, because it's also been in the midst of COVID, so there hasn't been any like come into the office, meet everyone, or go out to dinners and be wooed or anything like that. It didn't go like that at all. But I think that I was just surprised and kind of like hitting my manager like, all right, well, like, am I still gonna be able to do my own thing? Like, have they seen my pictures? Have they heard my songs? I was just kind of really surprised by it, because I just kind of saw myself being an independent artist at this point. And if something came along, then it would just need to be the right fit. But I think it's the start of something great. Yeah.
Great. And we've all heard stories of record companies coming in and wanting to change somebody. So hey, you got to do this kind of song first,
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've heard, that's not that you were doing what you wanted to do, and we're doing from the start. So
yeah. I mean, I think that's the fear, and we've seen it with artists. Even my half brother was really this is like before I was born, or right around the time I was born, but like was signed to Curb and really kind of pigeonholed us into a country artist, when clearly that wasn't what he really wanted to do. And that happens a lot. So I think I'm thankful for my team, like trying to protect me from that, so it doesn't influence the art. And I'm not gonna change.
Right.
I might try a few different things, but no, I'm not going to.
If you change or do something different, it's because it comes from you, not because somebody's telling you to do that, which is a big difference. And I think Shelton or Hank 3 is a good example of that, where somebody tried to push him in a direction that he wasn't really comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, and then found himself, once he stepped away from that, had better success at it.
I mean, and everybody's path is different. And in this day and age, that's, really hard to remember because you can see anybody's accomplishments and you can't necessarily see their failures, but you can see anyone's accomplishments, like, because they want you to. And you can kind of see the trajectory of anyone's career, regardless of like what field it's in, and constantly compare yourself. So yeah, to finally like have a big muscle company behind me feels really good. And I'm used to like scrambling for photo shoots or anything like that, like doing it all, me and my team, like together. So yeah.
So it does make a difference to have that behind you. Yeah. So and have them believe in you and believe in who you are.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Where did the title Glasshouse Children come from?
I mean, it's kind of funny. I said I don't really write to titles. Maybe I should, but that was a title that I had for some reason, and I don't remember how I got it. I think I just probably saw Glass House on something, and Glasshouse Children to me means like, it's like a duality of like a beautiful fragility, and like a lot of power and a lot of pain. And, growing up, throwing stones and like trying to make it out of situations and just like, acting out of pain and hurt. And there's a lot of songs on the album that, talk a lot about like my upbringing, and I just thought it painted like a really cool picture, and I just felt really connected to it. And I wrote that song with Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys and Ronnie Bowman, and it was a write that I could feel, which I mean often do, but like feel them like pushing in a country direction, like pushing in a like and or like talking about more like country instruments and stuff. And that title was so dear to me. I was like, no. I'm like, y'all don't understand, this is like my baby song, like this is gonna be my title track. So I had to steer a lot, and it's definitely the most emotional song on the album. It's the first track and the title track, and I'm really, really proud of it, and can't wait for people to hear it, and to just feel it and see me speaking my truth and telling my story, and not really trying to be anything else but me.
Almost along those lines, your song "Happy All the Time" talks about your upbringing and the bit, or at least it's about somebody's upbringing,
right.
And the idea of because you grew up one way doesn't mean what people might think.
Yeah.
So where did that song? How did you come to that song?
This could be controversial, but I should say, it was the very first time I met Mary Gaucher, and she was wearing a shirt that said, "Money can't buy happiness, but you can indict Donald Trump," and that's sort of the same thing. And it just tickled me, and I thought it was so funny that she was wearing that. And I don't know, I was looking at her shirt, and I started thinking about the idea of, not the funny part of the shirt, but like money can't buy happiness, right. And like me knowing how true that is, and seeing people struggle that come from money, and people that don't come from money, being happy and like have, knowing what it's about. And I felt compelled to write a song about that, and things I've felt and, gone through. And like just kind of like the visualization of like the metaphor of like look what I'm wearing, like taking all of the jewelry and the clothes and the vehicles and things like that, and like trading it for happiness and peace and stability and tranquility and serenity. So yeah, I mean, I used a couple anecdotes in it. We've had a couple Escalades growing up, and I'm like, why don't you take that Escalade and shove it? But yeah, it's a very dear song to me, and it obviously became one of the most special on the record. Yeah.
Okay. You know,
I guess we're gonna get into that.
thinking that serenity and that peace, which is what you hope that people seek, as opposed to money or power or things like that. What makes you happy then when you say something like that? What
makes
what
me
are
happy?
you seeking? Yes.
Feeling loved, feeling at peace, lack of anxiety, seeing my son happy, seeing my parents happy. I don't know, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll get asked that question a lot and we'll never have the right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned your suit that you have on. Can you want to tell us how where that came from? Where did you get that suit?
This is by a brand in Nashville called Any Old Iron. It's by this British designer, Andrew Clancy. And I work with him a lot. And I think a couple years ago, I mean, I always wanted to look cool, whatever. But I saw some of like the old Jimmy Dickens suits that he would wear. And I was just like floored. Like I didn't grow up in that time. And my dad's not really known for his style. He'll wear 5 different belt buckles. And I don't know, I was just really inspired by that. And I was like, I want to be somebody to, curl eyebrows and, be like, wow, that's really cool. Or it's not really cool. Or, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That was a great era, the Jimmy Dickens and Ray Price and Lefty Frizzell and all those just really sparkly, great suits.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it because you don't see that nowadays.
Right.
Nowadays, it's a T-shirt and jeans and a belt and boots and a frontwards cap and you're set. Yeah. And I don't know, there just needs to be some drama to it, some flair, So
Larry Gatlin line says, I don't want to see somebody come on the Opry stage. It looks like they just fixed their car, So.
Right.
so
no shade.
What would, in growing up, what would people be surprised? What was the way that people might think you grew up that was true, and what would be that they wouldn't have known at all? What made?
I mean, I think the main thing I would think of would be, he probably grew up going to like Nashville parties and like has Dolly Parton on speed dial, and that's why she's on his album, and goes to Miley Cyrus's house, and like, no, like nothing like that. I mean, my dad had some close friends that were famous. He was, friends with Kid Rock and, some other people, but like, no, I mean, I grew up in a small town called Paris, Tennessee, and spent 18 years of my life there, remotely normal. And I grew up going on the lake with my sister and hunting and fishing, even when I didn't want to sometimes. I feel like that would probably be like the primary misconception. And I mean, and also I guess that you never know what somebody's life is like or like what they're going through by their Instagram or something you heard about them, or if they come from a famous family, or I think that'd be like the main misconception.
Yeah, I've been to Paris, Tennessee, and it's not glamorous.
No, it's not.
And it's far from other bigger cities. You know, you'd have to make a special trip to kind of get in and get around. So
I was just telling my friend the other day, like, I grew up kind of dreaming that, like, I was gonna grow up and make money somehow and get rich and, like, come back to Paris and, like, bring cool restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, get a Chick-fil-A and get an Outback and, like, things like that, because there's, like, you know, nowhere to eat. My dad's always driving to, like, any town within 40 miles to, like, go eat somewhere cool. Yeah.
What's something else that maybe about you that people would be surprised that they want to, you know, think that the way you grew up, what you are drawn to or enjoy doing?
Well, I mean, I think if you have, like, common sense and know that everybody's not the same as their family, then you might know. But I'm a huge, like, rap and hip hop fan. Always have been since I was younger. I was, like, a humongous Drake, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, Young Money fan, Kendrick Lamar. And I mean, some people are, like, so thrown off by that because it's like you have to be just like the family that you come from, but it's not like that, you know. So yeah, like, when I remember going to see Rihanna and Gwen Stefani when I was a little kid at Bridgestone Arena. So I guess that, you know, I'm just into all different types of music. Yeah.
Right.
And you take what you can from, you know, each different genre and each different artist. Yeah.
And there are some parts of rap that are very personal and very revealing.
Absolutely.
To somebody, yeah. So there are aspects. So.
I mean, it may have died down, but in, like, its founding and, like, what hip hop was born from is very similar in a way to what, like, Appalachian music was born from, and, like, the struggle of people in, like, rural towns without money. And yeah,
and, you know, a lot of hillbilly music, like the Appalachian music, just like rap, was about, you know, standing up for yourself, kind of being almost boastful about it. Like,
right.
You can't, you know, you can't put me down just because I come from this place.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I really like Tyler Childers, and I was, like, a huge fan of him before he got really famous. And I really I like his references to, like, where he came from, and his references to West Virginia and East Kentucky, and it's like an emotional grit, and that's something I kind of, like, took from him. Is I don't know, like, that kind of grittiness that's not necessarily like I work in the fields all day, but it's like an emotional way.
Yeah, he's very tied to where he comes from, but he writes about it in a way nobody else has before. And
Right.
It seems like so.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of go back to, you know, here we are at the Country Music Hall of Fame. You're, I guess, one of the few people in the world other in your family who has two generations of people who are, you know, one who's was the first member of the Hall of Fame, and one who's the member elect and going to be the next member of the Hall of Fame. When you come in here, do you have any kind of feeling about what that means, or does it change when you walk into some place that's sort of tied into that?
My stomach kind of started hurting when you said that, but it's just, well, first of all, it's very nice to see, it's nice to see my dad recognized, because I think that he gets, he gets kind of lost in, like, the conversation sometimes, when it's not like, but I mean, kind of his intro to his show, like his live show, is like all the different songs that reference him, Hank or Bocephus or whatever they call him, in country music over, like, the past 20 years. And it's really cool to see it's a Justin Moore song or a Jason Aldean song or whatever, to see his impact recognized by the Hall is is great, and it's time for that.
Definitely.
And I'm just proud for him.
Great.
Because I know him as dad. Like I don't know him, as just a performer or Bocephus or and it's great that the Hall of Fame has really taken care of like my grandpa's legacy, and that people can, whether they're coming in from different places in the country or around the world, like that can come here and see it, and it's it's protected and it's handled with care, and that doesn't always happen, like a lot of the time for like legends that are forgotten, or like African American musicians. And so I just feel grateful that that it's protected and that people can learn about it.
Yeah, very well put. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so here you are, your first interview in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and we hope you come back and see us a lot and play for this room and play for crowds, and we look forward to having you back. We appreciate your time today. I know a lot is going on as you get ready to put out a record.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
If money could buy happiness, then you wouldn't be so sad. You'd overnight from Amazon all the damn joy they had. If money could buy happiness, well, wouldn't that be grand? You'd sell the Escalade in the driveway and offer me your hand, and we'd be rich, but not like we are. We trade the gold for love in our hearts. I praise the diamonds, go buy peace of mind. If money could buy happiness, we'd be happy all the time. Money could buy happiness, I'd sell my childhood home and trade square feet for memories where I'm not alone. If money could buy happiness, well, wouldn't that be great? I'd sell my life screenplay to Hollywood just for love in exchange, and we'd be rich, not like we are. We trade the gold for love in our hearts. I praise the diamonds and go buy peace of mind. If money could buy happiness, I'd be happy all the time. We'd be rich, but not like we are. We trade the gold for love in our hearts. Go praise the diamonds, go buy peace of mind. If money could buy happiness, we'd be happy all the time. Money could buy happiness, you'd be happy all the time. If money could buy happiness, I'd be happy all the time.